Like nervous, I'm scared for my friends, I'm making sure I'm checking up on them, and I just hope everyone's okay and this gets handled soon.
And you said you weren't on campus when the shooting
No,
happened?
I was parking my car, walking back, and as I was walking back, I see these group of girls crying, really upset, walking back from the student union, told me they heard gunshots, and they just...
One of the most terrifying days at Florida State University. Students crying, running from the student union, gunshots, blood trails, and a city forced into lockdown. And while students feared for their lives, law enforcement was racing against time. This is what unfolded on the campus of Florida State University. One suspect in custody, multiple victims, and an entire student body gripped by fear. If you want no-spin coverage of what really went down, subscribe now. Let's break this down piece by piece. The panic started just after noon. At around 12 o'clock, Florida State University issued a chilling alert. Shelter in place. Reports of an active shooter near the student union sent waves of fear through the campus. CNN's Ryan Young jumped on the developing story, reporting,
Law enforcement sources tell CNN that a suspect has been taken into custody after a reported shooting incident.
This wasn't just a warning, it was a moment of chaos. Dozens of students were seen running for their lives, captured in social media videos as authorities from the sheriff's department, local police, and the FBI swarmed the scene. The first images showed ambulances, armed responders, and terrified students being pulled out from the heart of campus. In the early moments, officials tried to calm the public, emphasizing the containment of the suspect, but they failed to address the deeper concerns. Listen to this attempt at assurance from a CNN law enforcement analyst.
Respond to this, and that response is really focused on 4 key areas to prioritize how law enforcement is responding to these active shooter situations. First, they want to stop the active shooter in progress. And the good thing here is we know that we have at least one suspect in custody. We don't know, though, if there are other threats that are out there.
They continued to push the idea of control, stating,
response right now, but from what I have seen and what has been reported.
But how textbook is it when 4 people are hospitalized and students are still texting loved ones from lockdown, scared to even peek out a window? The so-called textbook response didn't stop the panic, it didn't stop the trauma, and it sure didn't reassure the parents watching helplessly. Let's look at what really happened. Beyond the polished press briefings, Ryan Young dropped a haunting detail, a blood trail on a college campus. While some officials talked in strategic terms, this was the real ground reality.
The area that you see there is normally bustling with students. If you look at social media, you see dozens of students running. There have been reports of...
This wasn't an isolated moment. This was an eruption at the hub of the university, where students gather between classes, exactly when the place is busiest. And even now, we still don't have answers. The university's official statement only added to the confusion.
Police have responded to an active shooter call at the student union. They go on to say that all university classes and events scheduled for the day have been.
And let's not forget what Jonathan Wack wrote.
Well, listen, good afternoon. This is a stark reminder that really just underscores the dynamic and unpredictable nature of these horrific events.
Yet FSU had already experienced a shooting in 2014. Lessons were supposed to have been learned, but here we are again, with students describing crying girls, friends on lockdown, and a campus silenced by fear. As one student painfully shared.
In context there, we actually have sound from a witness, a student who shared what they saw. Let's listen.
How are you feeling right now?
Like nervous, I'm scared for my friends, I'm making sure I'm checking up on them, and I just hope everyone's okay and this gets handled soon.
And you said you weren't on campus when the shooting
No,
happened?
I was parking my car, walking back, and as I was walking back, I see these group of girls crying, really upset, walking back from the student union, told me they heard gunshots, and they just ran and came back to their apartment where I was walking to.
There is no textbook response to a system that keeps failing. As more reports trickled in, the scale of the horror came into focus, and it shattered the controlled situation narrative. Ryan Young delivered a devastating truth.
Receiving patients from that shooting scene as well. We believe 4 patients have been sent that way so far. I've also been told by a law enforcement source that I've talked to that the shooter has also been taken into custody.
But the bombshell moment, he revealed something that changed everything.
Well, I was talking to one of my friends who's on scene there at the student union, and he was actually the source telling me that he was following a blood trail because there was some sort of blood trail that was leading away from the student union.
That blood trail proves this wasn't some neatly contained incident. It was chaotic, and it was dangerous. There could have been multiple victims unaccounted for. Even worse, Ryan pointed out,
they're still trying to assess this as we are talking right now, trying to figure out all the pieces and to make sure they have all the victims here.
That alone should terrify every parent with a child on that campus. That even after the shooter was in custody, they didn't know how many were hurt. They didn't know how many had fled bleeding, and they didn't know the full extent of the scene. This wasn't under control. It was unfolding in real time, live on national TV. The students didn't speak in bullet points. They didn't talk like PR reps or press officers. They were scared, honest, and raw. One student summed it up with heartbreaking clarity.
Honestly, I just hope everyone's okay, and I hope that we can just do better precautions so this doesn't happen again. And I just feel awful for the students on there having to go through these emotions right now, dealing with scared for their lives, honestly.
Another revealed?
Texted them. They just said they're scared, they're in lockdown, and they just want to go home.
Can you imagine being 18 or 19, away from home, locked in a classroom or dorm room, and hearing gunshots near the student union? And let's be clear, this wasn't random violence in some alleyway. This happened in what CNN's analysts described as
Caused a lot of attention by students and visitors alike. By example, just look at the school calendar, the event calendar. There are dozens of things scheduled right now that are ongoing at the school that are bringing people there. So it's a very densely populated environment.
And when asked about prevention, retired FBI agent Rob D'Amico dropped this gut punch.
Students walking in, they have backpacks, they have things that, you can hide a gun in, that you're not going to be able to search everything.
Translation? The security system is never truly secure, and everyone knows it. So when this happens again, and let's be honest, it probably will, the same people will pretend it was unforeseeable. But the students? They've seen it coming for years. This wasn't just another campus lockdown. This was blood on the pavement, crying students, a massive response effort, and the same old "we did everything right" narrative. It's time to stop pretending this is normal, because it's not. If you're sick of the spin and want the truth, subscribe now. More coverage, more accountability, more voices that matter. No fluff, just facts.